Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jiang. Here's a look at some of the stories we've got ready for you today. Community leaders in a Southern California city held a memorial after 2 police officers were killed in the line of duty yesterday. Our reporter heard from officials mourning the loss as well as details on the case. Lawmakers are rushing legislation to write abortion into the state constitution. By comparison, such changes usually take 2 years to make. And a former San Francisco official says he thinks residents are finally waking up to modern policy. He comments on both the district attorney and school board recalls. A community mourned the death of 2 Los Angeles police officers who were shot on Tuesday. The suspect ambushed the 2 officers during a domestic violence call and died after a shootout. NTD's Jackie Rios heard from the city officials.
The Monte Police Department is grieving the loss of 2 other officers who were shot and killed on Tuesday afternoon while responding to reports of a stabbing at a local motel. The suspect was also shot and killed. The mayor, as well as law enforcement leadership, came out to express their condolences on Wednesday. The city identified the 2 officers as Corporal Michael Paredes and Officer Joseph Santana.
We're heartbroken here in the city of El Monte to have lost 2 of our officers in such a tragic shooting. Our hearts are, going out to the families. These 2 officers are gentlemen that grew up in our city.
Around 4:45 p.m., officers from the El Monte Police Department responded to reports of a stabbing at a motel between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. After arriving at the Siesta Inn, the suspect allegedly fired upon the 2. Authorities said the suspect then fled from the hotel room into the parking lot. Officers and the suspect exchanged more gunfire.
The 2 officers were transported to County USC Medical Center, where they passed away earlier this evening. The suspect was also struck by gunfire, and he was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Officials say the woman involved in the initial possible stabbing call was the suspect's girlfriend. She is being interviewed by detectives. The community of El Monte has placed a memorial in front of City Hall to honor the 2 officers. Police from neighboring cities also came to pay their respects Tuesday night and held a procession for the 2 fallen officers.
We had dispatchers come in from several other cities as well, everyone offering to cover shifts so that our police officers could be with their brothers who had passed in the line of duty.
A friend of the rookie officer who requested to not be filmed says it was a big loss for everyone.
He was a very humble, courageous, brave guy. He put literally everyone before him. He would go into the line of fire before anyone else. He was that one guy you can always trust to have your back.
The El Monte Police Department and other members of the community say they are left heartbroken.
The men and women of El Monte Police Department, as well as the community of El Monte, is grieving. I've heard that the only way to take the sting out of death is to take the love out of life. And believe me, they were loved. These 2 men were loved. They were good men.
Officials say the investigation is in its preliminary stages and will be ongoing. Jackie Rios, NTD News, California.
The abortion amendment is moving quickly in the California legislature. Leaders want to ensure that voters have a chance to make abortion a constitutional right.
On Tuesday, 2 legislative committees cleared the way for the proposed amendment that would ban the state from denying or interfering with abortions or contraceptives. It's unusually fast, as most of the time, the process takes 2 years to move a bill. According to Senator Scott Wiener, who voted for the amendment, the state needs to act now to make crystal clear that we value reproductive choice. Lawmakers are aiming to get it on the ballot this November, so voters have the option to vote on the amendment before it becomes law. 2/3 of the state legislature need to vote for it by the end of June for it to be on the ballot. According to an April survey by the Public Policy Institute of California, 76% of the likely voters oppose overturning Roe v. Wade. The amendment is one of 14 proposals in favor of abortion.
The Napa County Department of Corrections has released the mugshot of Paul Pelosi, the House Speaker's husband, following his arrest last month. He is due back in court on August 3rd with pending charges still under review by the district attorney. Paul Pelosi was arrested last month by the California Highway Patrol for allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol. Paul, husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was attending a dinner party in Napa Valley's Oakville prior to his arrest. Authorities state that the photo was taken on May 29th at approximately 4:30 a.m. According to the Napa County Department of Corrections, there is no specific law that requires or prohibits the release of booking photos or mugshots. County officials also state that the decision to release the photo was based on the jurisdiction's current policies and that all procedures were followed accordingly. Napa County District Attorney Allison Haley announced that the case is still under review and that no charges have been formally made at this time. Pelosi is due back in Napa County Superior Court on August 3rd, and if criminal charges are filed, will be arraigned at that time. The group leading the effort to recall LA's district attorney announced that it has surpassed the amount of needed signatures to get on the November ballot. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
On June 15th, the campaign to recall Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon said they have exceeded the 566,857 signatures required to get the recall on the November ballot. Now the focus for the campaign is to keep collecting additional signatures to offset any that might be ruled as invalid, saying that simply clearing the required threshold is not enough. We must build the necessary cushion for signatures that are inevitably invalidated. In a June 1st interview with the How We Win podcast, Gascon referred to the recall effort as driven by very conservative, very right-wing forces. 1 week ago in San Francisco, voters recalled San Francisco's District Attorney Chesa Boudin with 55% of the vote. Now the campaign has 3 more weeks to keep collecting signatures before the July 6th deadline. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
Recently, San Francisco has seen a few successful and significant recalls. One is for the Board of Education, and the other, most recent, is the district attorney. A former official explains why this indicates the city may be changing.
A former San Francisco County supervisor said that there is a ground-level change happening in San Francisco. Tony Hall explained to California Insider's Siamak Karami the signs indicating why the city is changing.
This city is nothing compared to what it used to be. And the average person living there is saying, okay, we're tired of it. So we're seeing a change. I think we are seeing a ground level change.
The most recent indicator is the recall of the district attorney, Chesa Boudin.
People are beginning to wake up a little bit. Yes. I was just recently at a big meeting downtown, and there was a lot of the downtown property owners, the store owners, and they're getting fed up with what's going on because the stores are closing and windows are getting broken constantly. I think San Francisco is ready for a change.
3 of the 7-member city school board were recalled in February. Parents rallied, saying they prioritized their own interests over students' education. Organizers said they would have recalled the other 4 members if rules allowed it.
They were a bunch of amateurs, activists, who knew nothing about raising kids. I don't even know if any of them even had any kids. Educating them, knew nothing about educating them. They were imposing their own agenda on the public school curriculum in San Francisco.
A day after they were recalled, the board's vice president resigned. According to Hall, those running for office in the city have to follow the party line, play the game, and have certain similar interests in order to guarantee their position and climb higher.
Politics is it's the art of selling your ideas to the people. When I ran, my idea was to sell, I'm going to represent the majority of people in my district and nothing else, not what Tony Hall wants. Most guys going in that don't look at things that way today.
Hall believes those in power will start changing their usual way of doing things to keep the public's trust.
It's time for a short break now, but we've got a lot of important stories ready for you when we come back. While California usually leads the nation and sometimes even the world, it did the exact opposite in this case. A new ranking puts the state's ports as the least efficient on the planet. An effort is underway to clean out and clean up a Los Angeles park that previously had over 60 tents. One resident in the area is happy to see them go after she had experiences with them. And a new fire department opened in San Jose. But it's not just any old building, it's using Silicon Valley style to be high-tech and high efficiency. That and more on California Today. Rankings came out for the most efficient seaports in the world. Instead of being the leader, California was the exact opposite this time, dead last. Here's a look at the report. Los Angeles and Long Beach have the least efficient ports in the entire world. That's according to a report last month from the World Bank. The World Bank published the data in its Container Port Performance Index 2021. The report measured the total time a ship spent at port and waiting offshore. Of 370 locations, both Los Angeles and Long Beach sat at 369th and 370th place. The rankings were measured by both administrative and statistical performance. On the other hand, the two most efficient container ports were both in the Middle East. They were the King Abdullah Port in Saudi Arabia and the Port of Salalah in Oman. The Port of Virginia was ranked 23rd, making it the most efficient North American port. A spokesman for the Port of Los Angeles told the Epoch Times the study was partially inaccurate. The spokesman said the study did not take into account the unmatched complexity of the San Pedro Bay ports. Los Angeles and Long Beach ports quickly became overwhelmed last year. The ports experienced record numbers of cargo ships during pandemic lockdowns. The flood of containers fueled congestion that caused supply chain delays across the United States. The twin Southern California ports remain the busiest container ports in the nation. They handle about 40% of the nation's imported cargo. Last week, a gas station in Northern California was selling gas for only 69 cents a gallon. Now, the manager is fired.
The manager of a Shell gas station in Rancho Cordova, near Sacramento, was fired on Monday for accidentally setting the price per gallon to 69 cents instead of $6.99. Local CBS 13 reported that the former manager acknowledged his mistake. He had put all the prices in, but the last one didn't go. When people found out about the great deal on June 9th, they took it to social media and called their family and friends. Soon a line formed. The gas station lost $16,000. It's not clear if the former manager needs to pay the amount back.
The Los Angeles mayor's office is working with a homeless service provider to clean up a notorious park encampment this week. One resident commented that she's glad that the encampment is gone after her experience with some of the people living there.
Venice of America Centennial Park near Venice Beach is getting cleaned out and renovated. Workers from Mayor Eric Garcetti's office worked with St. Joseph Center, a homeless service provider, to clear out over 60 tents on Tuesday. The encampment sat in front of the Venice Abbot Kinney Memorial Branch Library. Crews notified all homeless individuals beforehand between May 31st to June 13th that the cleanup was coming. Some individuals are now temporarily staying in hotel and motel rooms as part of the state's Project Roomkey. One nearby resident, who prefers not to show her face on camera, is glad they are gone.
Well, they stole some stuff off my property. They kept me awake. My bedroom window's right there, and they kept me awake most of the time. A lot of times at night, they start their bands and stuff and their noise at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had to get up and go to work and stuff.
She understands their situation as she used to be homeless, but now she has a place for herself.
They didn't have respect for the homeowners, and they'd pee and poop in my yard, and I had to pick it up. My dog would roll in it, it was just a mess. It was a total trash everywhere. I mean, every day I had to come out and pick up trash in my front yard and stuff like that, and it was terrible, just terrible.
After the housing transition program, the park will be closed to the public as the mayor's office oversees the area.
In Silicon Valley, city officials held a ceremony to open a new fire station. It's not only outfitted with new tech, but also has green features. NTD's David Lamb reports.
The San Jose Fire Department has been keeping busy. It welcomed 2 new fire stations this year with a ribbon cutting for one of them on Wednesday.
Very excited about this new fire station. It really will meet a seriously needed service for us here in the city. It'll strengthen our response network, and it'll provide improved response times in the immediate area. I'm very excited about having the station here.
Fire Station 37 officially opened on May 10th in Silicon Valley's San Jose. The community has been wanting one in the area since the early 2000s.
This had been an area where, particularly in emergency medical response, we had not been able to respond adequately because of a shortage of resources. The most important resource, of course, being people.
Members of the public and city officials came to get a tour of the station and fire engine.
We've been monitoring activity, and we, in that time, have had 298 emergency responses by Engine 37.
Station 37 is a little different from the typical fire station, with expected Silicon Valley flair.
All electric, no natural gas. We've got some solar panels as well.
New to our firefighters, they're going to be working off electric stoves, which are something they'll have to become accustomed to.
Sapien said new building standards require zero carbon footprint, and the station meets the city standard.
All of the building is built very efficiently, and so heating and cooling will be a minimum in terms of energy usage. Very excited to see this new generation of building coming here to San Jose.
Even with all the new features, a firefighter told us the station won't be a traditional fire station without the iconic fire pole. The captain agrees.
I think so big that it's built into our value statement. In that statement, we say that we balance tradition with innovation.
This station can man 4 personnel, and the chief says the fire station has state-of-the-art tech, such as its touchscreen emergency notification system.
And you'll see a lot of tradition. So the common eating areas, for example, is a tradition in the fire service. The pole that you mentioned in the firehouse is in multi-story stations is a tradition to help us respond quickly. And so, yes, traditions are very important in the department.
San Jose is home to dozens of fire stations scattered through the city. The chief has seen an increase in vegetation fires in the city and throughout the state. He expects the drought conditions will increase as the days are warmer and drier, making it a longer burn season.
And that means that our firefighters will be fighting fire earlier in the mornings than they ever have, later in the evenings than they ever had, and for more months than they ever have. And that's been a trend, and it seems to be persisting.
The fire chief says there's currently many projects in the making, and he hopes they'll be completed in the next 10 to 12 years. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Now let's take it to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports update.
I'm Thomas Christian giving you the California Today Sports Roundup.
Tony Gonsolin did not allow a run over 6 1/3 inning, and Mookie Betts homered as Los Angeles ended a 3-game losing streak by shutting out Anaheim. Gonsolin gave up just 1 hit, a 4th-inning single by Shohei Ohtani, as he got the best of a pitcher's duel opposite Angels right-hander Noah Syndergaard, who gave up 1 run over just 4 2/3 innings. Gonsolin improved to 8-0 on the season, tying the Houston Astros' Justin Verlander and the Toronto Blue Jays' Alex Manoah for the Major League lead in wins. He lowered his ERA to a big league best 1.42 after giving up 2 walks and striking out 6. Dodgers 2, Angels 0. Logan Webb threw 7 shutout innings, and Tommy La Stella came off the bench to produce half of the Giants' scoring with a pair of sacrifice flies as San Francisco beat visiting Kansas City. Wilmer Flores and Darren Roof drove in runs with singles, and La Stella, pinch hitting for Evan Longoria, plated the eventual difference maker with his first sacrifice fly. The Giants grabbed a lead they never relinquished en route to a 2nd straight win over the Royals to start the 3-game series and a 5th in a row overall. Webb, who had never previously faced the Royals, ran his career interleague record to 3-4. He allowed 5 hits, all singles, in his 7 innings, walking 3 and striking out 9. Giants 4, Royals 2. Luke Vogt hit a 2-run homer and a go-ahead 3-run double as visiting San Diego overcome a 5-run hole to land Chicago an 8th consecutive defeat. Jake Cronenworth added 3 hits, Nomar Mazara had 2 hits and 3 RBIs, and Jorge Alfaro homered late for San Diego, which won for the 9th time in 12 games. Off to the franchise's best start, the Padres also have won a season-high 5 straight on the road, where they are a National League best 22-11. Padres 12, Cubs 5. Nick Pivetta pitched 8 innings while J.D. Martinez and Rafael Devers both homered, as Boston cruised past visiting Oakland, improving to 18-6 against AL West opponents this season. Pivetta struck out 3 and allowed just 1 run. Stephen Vogt's solo homer in the 8th inning on 3 hits and 2 walks to earn his 6th win in his past 7 starts. Red Sox 6, Oakland 1. Rory McIlroy had 2 strong comments about the future of the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series in February. So far, one has been proven incorrect. McIlroy said the tour would be, quote, dead in the water in February, referring to all top players, saying they were not interested. Earlier in that week, he referred to the Startup League as a pre-Champions Tour because so many players were at the tail end of their career, and that much remains largely true. More players could sign up in the coming weeks. McIlroy has come out saying afterwards that since most of the golfers are in their late 40s or early 50s, they are thinking about money, and that they are scared of a little competition. McIlroy was named the PGA Player of the Year in both 2012 and 2014. He is one of 3 players to win 4 majors by the age of 25, other than Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods.
And that's all for sports.
That's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, or if you just want to let us know how well we're doing, send us an email at california.today@ntd.com. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jiang. Have a wonderful evening.